Hey everyone, thanks for checking out Seattle Coffee Gear. We're here with our roast of the month. If you haven't had a chance, go check out our video on Onyx Coffee Lab. They're our newest roaster, and for this month we're trying something we haven't done before, which is we're just like jumping in because we love their coffee so much and giving one of them the roast of the month this month for their first month here. So today we're brewing up Geometry, which is one of their 3 blends that we're bringing on.
Yeah, this is like they have a scale for all of their coffees that are like how traditional versus how like modern as far as style. This one's like right down the middle, so it's gonna be more of like a medium roast, right? And then what's the blend made out of?
Yeah, so it's Colombia and Ethiopia.
Okay.
Blueberry, sweet lemon, honey, black tea, silky and round. Yeah, so really balanced.
Yeah.
It sounds, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is my favorite of the 3 blends that we tried from them. I really like how balanced it is, and it kind of is sort of right in between Southern Weather and Monarch, which are their other the other blends that we tried from them from the last video. So make sure you go check that out if you're curious about more.
And then I wonder if this is the same Ethiopia that they did use in the Monarch coffee.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might be the same beans,
Yeah.
but roasted a little bit lighter.
Sure.
Like we talked about before, they're so scientific about the way that they do their coffee that I think the way that they roast is a little different than like, well, this one's just a little bit lighter. There's so much
More
into
technique.
like when they're getting the first crack on each roast, and so it's not just like this one was roasted less time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
More
science that goes into the way that they roast their coffee, which is kind of why I think they use their Onyx Coffee Lab.
Yeah.
Just to kind of denote that they're really into the science of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't realize that with the lab.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
If you've ever seen somebody roast something, though, especially nowadays with all the technology they have behind it, it's really interesting. They like have all these graphs and charts, and they like measure it, and the technology behind roasting is like crazy, you know?
That is crazy. Yeah, that's cool.
It's not something that you think about being
No.
on this side of it, but
No.
like, working in coffee shops and the industry and stuff like that, like being a
Yeah.
part of that is really interesting.
Yeah.
I think too, you sort of the lot of the imagery that continues to come out, especially from the Northwest roasting scene, is still that like classic. Look at this big drum roaster, and look how it's got a real sepia filter on the picture, and you see one person in overalls like stirring the.
Yeah.
But there's so much
More.
that's a very traditional image of roasting, but now there's so much more chemistry that goes into. Goes into it from a lot of roasters. There's certainly roasters that stay more traditional, but Onyx is one of the reasons they're so neat is because they do split that difference, and rather than just abandoning those traditional techniques, they're more about fusing those more modern chemical techniques to like traditional roasting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That is cool.
Yeah.
And the result is that like that traditional roasting is where you get classic coffee notes,
Yep.
like chocolate and stuff.
course.
So those more modern concepts, including process too, right? Like they use a lot of natural beans in their blends to give them a little bit of newer flavor.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of that comes from. Is those more modern techniques.
And anytime you add stuff like that, it definitely adds to the complexity of the coffee, which always makes it more interesting. So a lot of times, these more traditional like coffees that we're talking about, they'll be like what like more professionals will call one note, or like you taste and you're like, oh, that's chocolate. And like that's kind of it. But when you add these complex things like that Ethiopia that's in here to give it a little bit of fruit, it definitely adds to what's going on.
Yeah.
So as it cools,
Yeah.
the way you brew it, all of those things.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And that's where a lot of these coffees get really interesting, is you get to see the comparisons between using the same beans at different roast times and temps, and brewing in different ways, and trying to, it's fun. Their notes are so good. Like some roasters try to like infuse interesting notes because they want to taste it more than because it's really there. I think Onyx is really good at actually cupping their coffee and producing notes that are accurate.
Cool.
So
Absolutely.
it's fun with these blends to sort of tease out those flavors through different brew methods and different brewing temperatures and ratios and stuff. So
Yeah.
they're kind of like it's very easy to make their coffee very good, but their coffee is also kind of a puzzle to figure out like
That's
the
cool.
way you're gonna like it the most.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing up now.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Might be a little bit fine for this guy, but I'm sure it will taste great. All right.
I just realized the back of their bag says "Never settle for good enough." That's cool.
Yeah, that's something we didn't talk about too much in the other video that we did, but it's pretty apparent when you look at it. Their bag design and like the design of their site and their cafes is really, really cool.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is neat, and they have like instructions, kind of instructions on the side, or like guidelines. It says clean your equipment, which is always important.
Yeah.
Just a little plug.
Totally.
Bring your water up to temperature at 195 to 205 right before brewing. Grind right before brewing. 10 grams or 2 tablespoons per 6 ounce of coffee. And then, like, you know, all the other fun things. That's really cool, though.
That is
Yep.
cool.
Put on your favorite record.
Oh,
Always a good.
love that.
Yeah, that is a good record.
That should be step number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start there.
Yeah.
I love that. Cool.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
That's good.
Definitely like it. Like if because we just tried those other coffees.
Yeah.
It's definitely more citrusy
Yes.
and more light.
Definitely.
And definitely more towards the modern
Yes.
side on that, especially
Yes.
because those last two were both leaning towards traditional.
Yeah, and I actually think this is a lighter roast.
in general.
I haven't held the beans side by side, but I think it's a lighter roast than the Southern Weather even.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is right
Which
down the middle.
is part of why I prefer it. I like all three of their blends a lot, and that's not just like I really, really do.
Yeah.
But I tend to lean towards super light.
The lighter
coffees,
roast,
yeah.
the more modern. Absolutely.
Floral tea notes, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
And this has definitely got that floral tea note thing going on for sure. It definitely tastes like almost like an iced lavender tea
Yeah,
type
totally.
thing.
That was my
Absolutely,
thought
yeah.
when I first had it. Yeah, which is a big part of why I like it so much for sure. But it still has complexity to it too. Sometimes when you get really tea like coffees, they taste kind of like tea that has been brewed a little bit too long.
Okay.
And it's can be good still because it's a different context, but it sort of overpowers a lot of the other notes. And I think this one's you still get a lot of the citrus flavors
Yeah.
coming through. And depending on brew method, I think this one is good. This is my inkling is that I personally would not like this as much as an espresso as I would like their other two blends.
Yep, I agree with
I think
that.
this is more of a pour over
Yeah, I would agree.
or
Kinda
a
help
drip
myself.
brew. But still trying in different brew methods will dial back the tea notes a little bit. Pour over
Yeah.
isn't especially
Yeah, it brings that out.
It brings it out more than other brew methods for sure.
Absolutely. And so, like, I bet this blueberry, that would come out more in, like, a Chemex, right? Because it's going to hang
Yeah.
out together longer, extract a little
Yeah.
bit slower.
Yep.
But, like, for this one, like, V60 in particular, which is the method we use, it's known for bringing out those floral notes, those bright notes, you know, and things like that. So, yeah, I think that'd be really interesting to try at different brews.
Yep.
Not necessarily espresso.
If you have a lot of different equipment,
Yeah.
I would say and if you drink a lot of coffee, I would definitely say like pick up two or even 3 if you can get through them of bags, each one a different one of their
Yeah.
blends. And that's like a really, really interesting way to try out
Yeah.
the coffees. And but definitely make sure that you grab this one because it's my favorite.
Yeah, no, this is really good. It's really good on its own. It's
Yeah.
just smooth. It's balanced.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not too bitter, which is something you get from this.
Yep,
floral
absolutely.
coffees. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys, for checking out our roast of the month. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe and like to our YouTube, seattlecoffeegear.com. And yeah, we'll see you next time.